What's happening, Facebook? I know y'all was ready for your girl to come back. It's your girl, Princella Clark, in his house with your boy, King Leon X. What's up, African? That's who's in the house.
Hey, Black Family Power. Hey, what's going on, family? It's nice to be alive. It's nice to be able to leverage this technology for some constructive value. So I look forward to seeing what we got going on in this episode.
Yeah. So while we giving people an opportunity to come on in, we gonna play some smooth sounds by your boy Saigon, Pain in My Life with Trey Songs. You go ahead and speak that.
Okay.
Yeah. Check it. Young Felicia was only 4 when she learned how to ride a bike. Now she 14, riding anytime that you might. I tell her that ain't nice. Why you living so trite? She said, please, MYOB, homie, you don't know me. It's so much pain in my life. Her sister the same. Felicia claims she the one that hipped her to the game. She fucked Jermaine cause Jermaine had a shiny chain. Now when she pee on the potty, she feeling minor pain. Then she noticing her vagina changing out for the better. She see bumps and all kinds of things. The doctor suggested for her to take a HIV test. She said yes, now I'm piecing when she waiting to rest. She's so stressed, so much pain in my life. A soul say the bum on the corner. When I asked him why he bumming for quarter, was it him or was the government order? Said he thirsty, I offered him water, but he said he wants something stronger. He said it's pain in my life, that he need a little shun to numb it. Son, it's gonna burn a hole in his stomach. First I said nah, but then after talking to him, it was clear that his life was his life and go murdered the woman. That bomb used rum to keep his feelings numb. Felicia was out there killing them. Her fatherless daughter, him a daughterless father. She a nymphomaniac, he got his thoughts in the bottle. Would it help for them to walk with a Bible? They both say nah. They find religion awkward as I do. I can holler, give a dollar, but what more could I do? Not much, they got fucked, it's what we call survival. So much pain, pain up in heaven. You ain't me blood stain. Cause down here not much changed in the game. Cause everybody want a thug name. If you moved up pain I sustain, just for letting my gun bang. You would pump your brakes, your main. You would jump in the other lane. Pain in my life, I know how it feel. I've been in jail with none of my niggas keeping it real. No dough, no nail, it was yo go to hell. Now they jail cause I'm banging out with Coco Chanel. Even though I got pain in my life, I keep it discreet. I got a deal, still sleep in the street. Y'all hustle to get the keys to a Jeep, till the judge throw the book at you fuckers, tell you to read it and read it. And let me not forget about Leonard. The preacher been feeling on Leonard for a minute. Told him that if he told, the soul would be
2 seconds, that's my
even if
jam.
he made it to the gate, he wouldn't get in it. It's y'all niggas use pain for a gimmick, but Leonard Payne got pushed to the limit. Found him laying on a sofa one night, his dope slight with a suicide note in the night. Yo, what he write? So much pain in my life, and he's no longer wanting to live it. Breathing is no longer important, forget it. What he didn't write is he was molested since he was 5 and would rather die before he was forced to admit it. He said this pain niggas feel every day. My middle finger wave high to the critics. If y'all didn't get it, what? Then maybe I should just stay away. Let my man Trey Songs and him hit it.
pain up in heaven, wouldn't the rain leave bloodstains? Oh, everybody want a thug name, baby. Just for letting my gun bang. Pump your brakes, your man. You would jump in the other lane. Up in heaven, wouldn't the rain leave bloodstains? Cause down here not much change. Cause everybody wants a thug name. Thug name. The pain I sustain, just for letting my gun bang. You would pump your brakes, your man. You would jump in the other lane. You would jump in the other lane. You would jump in the other lane. So much pain in life. What's happening? What's happening? People on the Facebook channel. I'd like to welcome some of King Leon X's people in the house.
Some of y'all might know me, some of you might not know me, but there's your boy right there. He on the screen. I know you see him.
Yeah, I had to, my allergies was been bugging me. I just go ahead and grab this roll of tissue so I wouldn't have to leave it again.
Yeah. Come to find out, everybody, you know, Mr. Leon say he been following me since 2014, and I never knew that. Y'all know that, right?
That's the truth. That's the truth.
Never knew it. Because I never saw him comment. Never saw him say a word. And I just...
Hey, excuse me. I creep a lot on the social media. I always just watch. Like I told you, I sit in, I hear you say what you gotta say, and I just be like, black woman power.
That's what's up. That's word. So, Mr. Leon, he made a post the other day that caught my attention. Because a lot of people know where I come from. Most people who follow me and been following me for a while know exactly where I stand on personal accountability. I don't point the finger. We way past the stages of talking about white supremacy. We way past all this stuff. And my focus is primarily on accountability. Because, and the reason why this is because, let's see, you got Dr. Claude Anderson. You got Francis Cress Welsing, Dr. Ben, okay? John Henry Clark. You got Ashraf Kwesi. You got all these people that got books, videos, a plethora of information that is all over all over the internet that you can reach.
The World Wide Web.
So there's no need for me to keep reiterating what's been said by several people. Now, and my thing is, if the Negro won't listen to them, okay, what difference does it make if I say the same exact thing? They got a plethora of information that they can reach. I don't need to keep saying the same thing. What I need to focus on is accountability. And you doing something about it.
Come on.
Where we at. And so, Mr. Leon made a post that finally caught my attention that began to talk about, from a male, finally, somebody holding the male accountable. And the reason why this is important for a black male to begin to hold other black males accountable is because it's so easy for them Negroes to pull the feminist card when I'm talking. It's so easy for them to just say you hate black men.
Hey,
when
wait.
Huh?
Oh wait. Oh, okay. Now I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to say that also, just like they be pulling the feminist card on you, they be pulling a card on me to just love up on a woman, and I don't hold her accountable in any way. You see, they just my brothers. We love deflecting. We're master deflectors, and so they'll call you a feminist, and they'll call me a woman lover, and and some form of self-hatred, which I don't see. But continue, love. I just wanted to interject that.
And this is good that we're having this discussion, Mr. Leon. It's real good, okay? Because
I was gonna be like this with it.
Yeah.
It just popped though.
Yeah. Now the reason why it's good, and I'm gonna get into the second half on why it's good, because see, they'll call me a feminist. They'll call you a simp. That's basically. They'll call you a simp.
Okay, yeah, that's a better word. Yeah, that's
They'll call you a simp. Yeah, they'll call you a simp. Okay. But the reason why this is so important is because me and you got something in common that I just found out about 20 or 30 minutes ago. I found out that you were a salesman once upon a time, right?
Life is sales. My love.
Hold on.
Life is Sales. That's the title of my one of my books that's coming out. And yeah, it is. Yeah.
Now, for some reason, your connection is a little bad. It's coming in and out. And we kind of want to get a fluid one. You're kind of frozen over there. What's happening?
Oh.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what do. And you know we still on the phone?
Yeah, we're still on the phone, but...
We've been on the phone for 20 minutes. Hold on, I thought I disconnected my phone call. We've been on the phone for 20 minutes.
Okay.
You didn't even know that.
No, I didn't. I thought we ended that call.
All right, hold up. Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Hello? Can you hear me?
I can hear you good. Let's see if we...
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you. I can see you too.
Oh, you can hear me and see me.
Yeah. Your connection's just
Is
a
it
little...
still a lag? I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Well...
Is that my end? Is this on my end?
Well, I don't know if you watching Facebook, it's always gonna be a lag. So I wouldn't pay too much close attention to what's going on Facebook because yeah, it's always gonna be a lag back there. But
Okay.
the issue that
I can hear you.
Okay, I guess if the connection stays like this, it's kind of subpar, but we can probably make it work. But explain. We both have something in common.
Go ahead, love.
All right. Okay, so we got something in common. You were a salesman, and we both were salespeople. And being salespeople, when you work for 100% commission, guess what you don't have the luxury of doing? You don't have the luxury...
Making excuses.
Exactly. You do not have the luxury of making excuses when you're a salesperson. Because guess what? You get 100% commission. Ain't nobody paying you unless you produce it.
You either making money or you making excuses. You do both.
Ooh, man. I'm trying to make it work. But man, your connection is kind of real bad. Every time you start talking... every time you start talking, like half of the stuff you're saying getting cut out.
This.
How's your internet connection? Yeah, I might. Can't answer you on that phone. I'm gonna have to call. I'm gonna hang up from this call and recall you back on the computer, cause I can't pick up the phone on my phone. Can't pick up the phone on my cell phone. I'm gonna try this again. We gonna hang up that call. So we just.
Alright, we shouldn't, I just went on my phone instead of my computer. We shouldn't have no more issues.
Okay, that's probably gonna be better. Let me just pick up the current call. Alright. Alright. That should be better.
Yeah, this should be better. My bad, family. Nah, go ahead. What was you saying, love? You were saying we have something in common? about sales, being salespeople. You're either making money or you're making excuses. You can't do both.
Exactly. And so I guess it would be good that we having the conversation, because we come from the same school of thought about personal accountability, responsibility. A lot of people want to focus on talking about history, okay? Talking about ancient gods, talking about all this stuff that black folks have been talking about for years. Now, this consciousness stuff didn't just start yesterday, okay? John Henry Clark, how old was he? How old is John Henry Clark?
Extremely old.
How old was Dr. Ben?
They were old enough, Queen.
And they've been doing this for a long time. They've been doing this for a long time, right? They've been enlightened. They have been putting out.
About Dr. Ben. Now, I was about to say something about Dr. Ben. I have read. Didn't he die in a nursing home? He was there for like 10 years. He spent the last 10 years in a nursing home, and he died in mass poverty. All of this information that he gave to the people, it wasn't able to be translated into his physical or financial equivalent.
Mm-hmm. So the point that I'm making is that black folks been talking about the same shit for decades. Okay? For decades. All right. So there's no need for us in 2017 to keep saying the same things that other people have been saying. They got videos circulating around, all this stuff. At some point, we got to move on to a new stage. And it seems as if black people have not been able to move into the doing stage. They have not been able to move into the changing stage. Because they stuck back there, and they stuck at pointing the finger at white folks. So I'm a little cutthroat over here. I am very unorthodox on my page, because I'm extremely cutthroat, because I don't deal with excuses. And I focus more on the male than I do on the female. And there's a reason why I do that. The reason why I focus more on the male than I do on the female is because there is absolutely no balance at all in this atmosphere of black America. I've noticed that all fingers and total responsibility for the black community being fucked up is pointed towards the female. And it's pointed so much that every male who believes that he's conscious takes the position of focusing on her solely. And with this, gives most males the illusion that their asses are innocent, that they have no hand or play no part in the destruction of black America. And being the fact that they play no part, there will be no chance at all that they would even remotely take personal accountability. But at the same time, they believe that the female should be submissive to them. They believe that they're supposed to be the head of the household, and they are supposed to be leaders, yet they take no accountability at all whatsoever. So my position is to level out the playing field, to show them the error in their ways, as if they always want to show the error in the female's ways. Because the female cannot rise without the male rising to a different stage. And so I wanted people to get your perspective, and for you to go into some detail about the post that you made on your page the other day about male accountability and the black this feminist movement. So you got the floor now. I'm done until you done.
Yeah. So, Queen, you said a lot. It's multi-layered factors that we are both well aware of, that if we were to mention, would be preaching to the choir. There's a lot of World Wide Web historians and people who have acquired some level of knowledge of self with the intent to benefit them, but it seems that it could almost be a detriment, because as Black men becomes more aware of history, more aware of what happened to him, and he finds more and more of the reasons and more of the factors that explain his current circumstance, it's easy to point the blame at the results as if the results are the causes. It's easy to point the blame at the effects as if the effects are the causes. And so if we're going to be dealing in the realm of personal accountability, history aside, like, what is manhood, right? These are the questions that I ask myself. What is womanhood? What is parenthood? What is brotherhood? And from our discussion before, we were talking about manhood. It basically is going to boil down to leadership. And leadership is the action of leading. Leadership is the action of leading. Leadership is also both a research area and a practical skill. Us being salespeople. See, me, I was, you asked me about my sales background. After college, where I used to sell a lot of different things in high school and college, but after college, I got into corporate level sales in a management training program, which, like you said, it was 100% merit based. And that's where I was able to thrive on, because once I realized the fact that you either making money or you making excuses, you can't do both. Then I started to become a solution provider. I started realizing that I'm the one with the problem. I'm the one who controls my smiles and tears, right? And if it's other people or other groups out there producing the type of results that I would like to produce for myself, then any deflection, any complaining, any blaming, or procrastination would just be my self-imposed limitations, right? Mm-hmm. So going back into leadership accompanies the ability of an individual or organization to guide or lead individuals or team as a team.
So let me ask you a question. Can you look up the root word lead? Because lead is the root word to leadership. Right, exactly.
And this is where right here on my notes, I was breaking it down. You feel me? Lead is gonna be right next. You feel me? Because that has to be broken down. Lead is to show someone or something the way to a destination.
Okay, and what's the key word there?
Show.
Key word is show. It ain't tell.
Leadership is the leadership is the action of leading. Okay, so it's to show someone or something the way to a destination by either going in front or beside them.
Right. So.
Right. The lead. Hold on, just real quick so we can talk about this leading real quick. I just want to bring these points to address because people might not have considered. So on top of with leading, there's multiple different definitions to a whole bunch of different words, but to lead is to like we said, show someone or something the way to a destination by going in front or beside them. In front or beside them, right? It's to organize and direct. To lead is to set a process into motion. It's to be a principal player, to have a personal initiative, to initiate and have an advantage over, right? And then the last thing I wanted to say about leadership before I pass it back to you is the 5 levels of leadership, because people, it's different types of leadership now that we know what leading is
and the act of leading is leadership, but it's levels, right? And the first level of leadership is the position level. So if people are taking notes, the first level of leadership is the position level. And the position level, if people follow you just because they have to, right? The state of Black America, pretty much no Black woman has to follow the Black man, pretty much. The way it's set up, she could do whatever she wants. So a lot of the position leadership, like this self-entitled or self-imposed superiority complexes, are what people feel hurt by, because they're staying at a level 1 leadership expecting that whatever position that they have determines or is going to guarantee the woman, like you said, submitting or surrendering. We should say surrendering to the will or the vision.
Okay, so let me ask you this question: are you, to make sure that we clear, and I'm clarifying, I'm comprehending this? What
Right.
you're saying is this position leadership is basically likened to the male being born with a penis and believing that he's automatically entitled for somebody to bow down to him and follow him just because he was born a male.
Come on with it. Come on with it. And in fact, the fact of the matter is, if we were really to, because yes, to answer your question, yes, that's directly related. The causes of that is our mimetic faculties being active and us mimicking, our century-old opponents, where they're misogynistic, chauvinistic perspectives and postures did not allow room for the truth of the divine masculine or goddess principle, as well as the truth that no man precedes his mother, okay? As well as the truth that, see, if I was to take my shirt off right now, I have 2 nipples or areolas, but these are rudimentary, which means that the doctoral term for rudimentary means it has no use. So I was wondering, because I'm like, damn, if everything in life has purpose, and then they say that the male nipples are rudimentary, then that's a lie. What is the purpose of male nipples and areolas? And I realized that the purpose of them is to serve as the marker to prove from who we came from in the first place. You see, and who we're copies of. You see, because society or the common thought or belief system is that for somehow biblical literature has convinced people that men or women come from man rib or something like that, when no man came before his mom, and women are the only ones who have purposeful or useful nipples, right, and areolas. That's just a side fact. So to go back to your point, which was the position level, which is the first level of leadership, due to a certain belief system, people think that they're automatically entitled to have subordinates or to have people who to agree with what they have to say or to just follow along with no questions asked. This is where a lot of our people find conflict. The second phase did that answer your question?
Oh yeah, I'm just wanting to make sure that the audience gets a clarification of each stage, just in case what you say, I need to make sure that it's repeated, kind of like a back brief. I would do. Yeah.
Nah, because that's what's going to be better, to make sure that this is a dialogue. Because I'm used to just rambling, or not necessarily rambling, because everything that I say is with purpose, but I don't want to be redundant.
Mm-hmm. All
but
right.
I also want to be thorough in making sure that all sides of the point are addressed before we move to the next one.
All right.
So the second level of leadership is permission. The first is position. The second is permission. So those who are taking notes, the second level of leadership is permission, where people follow you because they want to. people follow you because they want to. Where in position, they follow you because they have to.
Right. And so the want to has to come in the form of that person actually doing something that will persuade somebody to want to follow them. So they have to be more on the doing level versus more on the force level, just because I've been placed in this position and you got to. Basically.
Right. Exactly. And let's because you said the doing level, right? The doing level means man hours. Now, from personal experience, and from and as a sociologist, studying and examining groups of people, and then especially our race, what I found is that the black woman appreciates all types of do something men. You see, as long as a man is doing something constructive, as long as he's not aimless, as long as he's not a drifter or a wandering generality, then that there's a level of respectability or influence that allows or makes women want to attract to that or wants to follow that.
So
regardless of what I'm saying is regardless of whether the doing is a constructive,
right? That's what I was about to say. Regardless of what he's doing, as long as he's doing something. So it don't matter if he a pimp. It don't matter if he a drug dealer. It don't matter if he is a CEO of a major company, a basketball team leader. Don't matter as long as he's doing something, is what you're saying.
Yeah, because we can't be because a do nothing type man has no reason to have a woman. You see, because the pleasure. See, men deal with women for pleasure, not realizing that real pleasure is not even supposed to come from a woman. All right, I'm about to break this down. Real pleasure for a man, right? Real pleasure comes from turning your idea into a physical thing by the work of your hands. That's that real pleasure is those man hours and that pain of productivity. Then the woman comes after work. The pleasure of the woman comes after work. Recreation comes after work. You see, because once a man engages in sexual activity with a woman, what does he do next? Not often time.
Shit, go to sleep or eat something.
To sleep.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And so the pleasure of the woman is supposed to come after work. You see, prior to pleasure of a woman has to be the engagement of the definite fulfillment of a chief aim, whatever that may be. A woman, I believe, just like a man, right, as divine masculine, I'm here as your helpmate, right? Your divine comrade, your divine helpmate. And it's likewise as the divine feminine, you are my helpmate. And so if we're supposed to be helping each other, a woman can't help a man do nothing. She got to help him do something.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we get to the second phase of second level of leadership position, where people follow because they want to, that want is derived from the actual act of doing something, which qualifies as a leader, which as almost a bare minimum level,
mm-hmm.
right? So you got any? Is that clear? Are we clear on
that's very clear. It's more about the energy versus the actual result of your doing, because leaders act on something. They doing something. They gonna devise a plan, whether it's to sell crack to all the black folks. They gonna devise a plan to get that crack out there. And if they getting results and showing that they doing something, there's an energy that's gonna attract these folks to follow, because they're actually producing something that the physical eyes can see. So as he mentioned before, the key word to lead is show. If your ass can't show nothing and all you doing is sitting up here talking, okay, then your ass is not being a leader, because you can't show me the effects of your own life being put on display with what you saying actually works.
Right. And yeah, exactly. Which I mean, well, that's it, yeah. But then at that same time, when we talk about lead and a true leader, is going to project a long-term vision of the future, which is going to inspire and bring out of the woman and the child or other men that are involved, bring out something inside of them that they didn't even know was there, right? The vision will come even a size too big so that we could collectively grow into it. So yeah, the key word of lead is to show, and to show what is the way to a destination, to a clear destination, right? Because I don't believe that women are that, because they understand the situation, they understand the condition, so they not that much concerned with the immediate gratification of material things as they are of the instant gratification of seeing black men hold themselves accountable and take responsibility for where they are, knowing that it's their past thoughts, actions, their words, their belief systems and habits that brought them to where they are.
Hold on.
And then to where they want to go. You say hold on, but the viewer's still here. It's cool. Get your dog, right? But like I was saying, family, so before we go into the third level of leadership, we want to make sure that we are clear that definiteness of purpose, definiteness of some type of end goal or a definite result must come before any attempt to lead, right? Because you can't, blind leading the blind, you can't lead someone somewhere where you don't know where you're going. Y'all just wandering together.
And most people, the reality is most people don't know where they're going.
Exactly. That is the absolute reality. And to make it even more specific and make it even hit home even more, is that only 3% of adults have written goals. Only 3% of adults have long-term, short-term, clear, specific goals, right? In their business, in their relationship, written long-term, short-term goals for their health, finances, their spiritual, their legacy, right? All of these things we must be clear upon if we want to call ourselves a leader, or to expect anyone with some sense to use us as a guide.
Well, you know what? Usually with the majority of males, they ain't looking for no females with no sense, because you can't pull a fast one on a female that got sense. So right. It's better to try to find somebody that don't have that much sense, because that person will fall for anything that you say. And so right. They don't understand that iron sharpens iron. Iron sharpens iron. The weaker the female, the weaker the male. Because if you can't get a female that's willing to hold you accountable, then you're not going to be to a point where you hold yourself accountable enough to get to a level you actually allow yourself to become substandard.
Let them know. Let them know. See, and then, so if we're going to say iron sharpens iron, see, the key thing of that is to realize that we, who is the iron? What is iron? Are you iron? Are you solid? You see? Because a lot of my comrades, a lot of my brothers, and even myself in areas that I'm still unaware of, that I'm still growing. So I'm not separate from the Black collective man. You feel me? I am even the least productive, the least reliable, the least informed, even the least educated, even the least consistent, the least responsible is still me. Even the least of black men is me. So I'm not here to deflect or separate myself from the collective black male condition. I am here, however, to serve as an example of what strategic process that took me from self-imposed limitations, procrastination, blame, criticizing others, and excuses to full responsibility, full accountability, and completely in charge of my life, in charge of my day, in charge of my mental attitude, and ultimately in charge of my destiny. So I'm going to just go right to the third level, which is production. The third level of leadership would be production. People follow because what you have done for the organization. So in this case, what would you say organization say as the family, or would you say black collective?
Well, when you say family, that's a level, but then when you say black collective, that's a whole nother level. And this is where we always have a clash, not me and you, but a lot of people that can't comprehend this basic thing, okay, that I'm going to say, is that in order to impact the black collective, you have to start on the foundation of the black collective, which is the black family. In order to focus on the black family, that means you have to focus on the cornerstone of the black family, or the foundation, which is self.
Come on now.
Okay? So
come on with it, love.
The leadership, or the results that it's always somebody, well, what you doing? What you doing? Okay, all right. I'm doing something every day when I'm impacting people to change their mentality, to change the results in their house. You ain't got to see me doing this, because that ain't doing shit but throwing a fist. This is not doing anything, okay? This is just a symbol, okay? Out there marching with a sign ain't doing...
It's doing something. It's doing something. It's just not doing much.
Right.
It's just not...
It's not doing much, okay? But doing this, I can tell you right now, is not going to impact the mentality of the black family. This is not going to impact the mentality of the black community, because people have been doing this forever and we still fucked up. You got criminals doing this. You got people who done sold drugs to your brother or your mama doing this. So at the end of the day, this is not doing anything. In order for you to even say result.
That's my favorite pose, though. I feel slighted. That's my favorite pose.
Don't feel slighted. I'm just talking in general.
I know.
I
do a lot of action, though. I do a lot of action.
Right.
So I ain't slighted.
For those who do actions, I don't have no problem with you doing this. But for the most part, the people doing this ain't doing shit. Okay, it's just the reality.
They're trying to use that as a replacement for action. It don't work like that.
Okay, look, if you don't, whether you know it or not, I'm gonna go ahead and give you background. Princella is not a black Christian. Princella is not RBG. Princella ain't Kemetic. Princella ain't what else is what else people talking about? Hebrew Israelite. I ain't Ephah. I ain't none of that stuff. I don't connect I ain't a part of any of it. I ain't Yehuru, okay? Because at the end of the day, the people that you trying to get to don't know nothing about that shit, okay? They know what they see every day, okay? And they ain't emotionally connected to absolutely any of that stuff. And the only way that you're going to be able to impact them is to get on their level, okay? Get on their level. And to start showing what you do as a result. And here's the key. This is the part that a lot of people do not comprehend. You said something real key earlier. You talked about Dr. Ben dying in a nursing home with all of this information that he put in the books and everything for these Negroes, and not having the monetary equivalent to the information that he put. Now you said something key when you gave the definition of lead. The key word in lead was show. You have to be able to show that the knowledge that you have gained can be equivalent to what is viewed as power.
To genuine, the knowledge that you have gained has to be equivalent to a genuine material improvement.
Exactly.
And this is where I'm gonna pass it back to you, but I also wanted you to speak on the difference and I want the people to recognize the difference between leaders and teachers. You see, because obviously, right, Dr. Ben was a great teacher, right, and I never met him. So I don't know how many leaders he created. However, we know that since his death happened the way it did, and even Dr. Khalid Muhammad, who we also call a great leader as well, based on his work and influence, they had to do a crowdfunding, which is basically a GoFundMe for his funeral. You see, and then a lot of other revolutionaries or people who kept the fight alive, right, per se, right, also died poor, confused, and lonely. And so we must not, or I refuse to drop the ball in a manner in which I could study history and protect myself against. But go ahead. So can you talk about the difference between a leader and a teacher?
Oh, most definitely. See, again, a leader is going to produce results. It's going to show you how to get to a point. Show you. It ain't going to tell you, because most teachers are not doers. Those who teach business courses are not actually out there running businesses. Those who are teaching MBA courses are not running multi-million-dollar corporations. Okay?
Come on.
All right? Leaders are doers, and most teachers ain't doing nothing because they don't know how to do. Okay? So you're going to have a problem. Here's where black people's problem comes in. Is they don't understand that the measuring tool in this system is money, status, and materialism. That is the measuring tool to show you how much the fuck you know. If you cannot produce money, status, and materialism doing what you've been saying, then the Negro ain't gonna follow you. Hence why it's gonna backfire on Nick Cannon, because Nick Cannon did not amass his wealth by speaking what he's speaking now. See, he done switched on the people. You have to be able to take the information that you're speaking, put that information into action, and gain results based on what you've been doing and saying. You can't gain results doing something else and then switch to it, because you're going to confuse people. And that's the part that a majority of people don't understand. If you want the Negro to listen to you, you're going to have to show them some results. The people that you're really trying to reach, you're going to have to show them some results.
Definitely. Definitely. And those results, that brings us, I'm glad that you said, that brings us right to back to the third level of leadership, which is the production, where people follow you for what you have done for the family, right, for the organization. And so to touch on that last point where you were talking about, we were talking about teachers and leaders, right? and you were making a comparison, which was a great analogy that I use often. I use a lot, having to do with teachers or professors professing these things to these students on things that they kind of think that they know, but they haven't proven in their results.
Right.
Right? Like you said, the MBA teacher isn't running multi-million-dollar corporations, you see, and all these other different types of things. So then it comes to, let's get rid of this lie, because we all about breaking invisible chains, okay? And the only thing that's better than the truth is the whole truth, all right? And so we hear all the time, oftentimes, that knowledge is power, right? You heard that before, right?
Right.
Well, Dr. Ben had all the knowledge. We're not gonna keep referencing him because it's a great ancestor. We love his messages and his teachings. These professors, all of these people, we know people with a whole bunch of knowledge, but it hasn't translated to its physical equivalent, nor has it translated into that knowledge translated into an organized plan.
Right.
That has acted upon to its physical equivalent. So what I've learned in my deliberate study in personal achievement, the neuroscience of personal development and these types of things, I learned that knowledge is not power. And if you've taken notes, put this in your notes. Knowledge is not power.
Correct.
Knowledge is only potential power. Knowledge is only potential power. Knowledge only becomes power when it is organized into a definite major plan to attain a definite major purpose and then acted upon daily with a spirit which does not recognize failure or temporary defeat.
Right. And hence where sales comes into play, because when you work on 100% commission, you ain't got no choice to quit or take no for an answer. Because if you do take no for an answer, then you're just going to be a broke salesman. Okay? See, sales teaches you to have an iron will. It teaches you to be a go-getter. It teaches you to overcome objections. It teaches you not to quit so early. If you ask me, I believe everybody needs to be forced to do commission sales at least 6 months, because it will get you out of that free lunch mentality. It will get you out of the entitlement mentality. The reality is a bunch of Negroes have a mentality issue. I mean, entitlement issue.
Yeah, which the entitlement is directly related to the mentality. So you was right both ways. But go ahead, Queen.
Yeah, and so because of this entitlement issue, there can be no leadership. Because the first step to leadership is personal accountability.
Right.
Personal accountability and responsibility. The moment you point the finger and deflect, you are no longer in control.
Come on.
You are no longer a leader. And manhood is equivalent to leadership. Womanhood is equivalent to leadership. If you cannot be a leader, then you cannot be a man or a woman. Because your first fucking responsibility as a man or woman is to lead. Because once you have children, guess what? Your punk ass got to lead them.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And the your level of leadership and your level of awareness on how to lead is going to be directly related to how your child's philosophy turns out, because they are a result. Children are not the cause; they are a result. The children are the physical manifestation of their parents' belief systems and habitual thoughts and actions.
Exactly.
And so the first, when we want to talk about leadership, the first thing before we try it, because I never try and put myself as authority over anyone, because I'm not. That's naive to think that I'm in control of anyone except for my own mental attitude. So the first thing that I had to begin to understand, and that we both did, is that if we wanted to call ourselves or become men or women, we had to learn how to lead ourselves.
Exactly.
Right? And if we can't effectively lead ourselves to, destinations that we intend to, then we have no nerve to point any type of blame.
Exactly.
But go ahead.
Exactly. And that's the first part that most people do not comprehend. They do not comprehend that the first person you're supposed to lead is yourself. Everybody is looking outside of self to find out how they gonna influence or control somebody else when they can't influence and control their damn self. Now, I focus on the damn dude a lot, because if you believe that you just acquire a position of leadership because you was born with a damn penis, then the first person who will be held to some form of accountability will be your ass. Okay?
Straight up.
All right?
Come on.
And the first person.
Say that again? Can you say that again?
Yeah.
I like that type of shit.
Yeah. So, again, I'm going to rewind that the reason that I focus more on these dudes is because if your ass believes that you were born naturally to take the position of leadership just because you was born with a penis, then the first person who's supposed to be held to some type of standard of accountability will be your ass. And you do not have the luxury of pointing not am finger at nobody besides yourself for everything that goes on, because leaders are the first motherfuckers that take responsibility. Because if you got, let's say,
Finish your analogy and I got another one for you.
Okay. Let's say that your ass is the manager of McDonald's. You couldn't do shit else, but your ass got hired on for $12 an hour at McDonald's. Okay? So now you the fucking shift manager. Your ass fuck up. And now corporate is calling your store manager. Store manager get chewed out. And guess who else get chewed out? The store manager gonna come and chew your ass out. They not gonna chew out the employees. They gonna chew out the person that's in charge. So the person that's in charge of the store is gonna be getting a call from corporate, not the goddamn fry cook. Okay? But if you born believing that the damn female is the fry cook, if she the fry cook in your eyes, then nigga, you do not have the luxury of pointing the finger at the fry cook. You take on the first form of accountability for everything that goes on.
I stand, and just to further get that point in your spirit, let's use, because since we're dealing with black men are so caught up in sport and play, as I used to be. This is the time of sport and play. This is how they create the society so we're caught up in a lot of games. And so I'm going to use a game called football as an example to just reiterate that example of leadership and accountability. You see, we just talked about the Super Bowl. I didn't watch it. The only reason I know who won is because people post about it on social media and stuff like that. But anyway, the quarterback of the team is basically the figurehead or the face and the voice or the captain. And so, or you could say the quarterback or the coach. We could use those both synonymous, right? And you could always tell a good quarterback and a good coach and their level of leadership by when chaos hits, when shit hits the fan, when it does not go as planned, when they got their ass tore up, right? And then they're interviewed. The posture of the leader never deflects. Tom Brady won however many Super Bowls, but he also lost Super Bowls. Every time he lost a Super Bowl, every time Bill Belichick lost a Super Bowl, never did they blame their team. They took full ownership for their inconsistency or inability to execute the game plan.
Exactly.
Whereas we see a lot of, like, Robert Griffin Jr., for example, who was good his first, for the Redskins, he was good his first year or two, or whatever, shit start hitting the fan, they ask him questions. He start blaming the O-line. He start blaming the running back. He talking about it's the defense fault. He said if coach called the right plays.
Always find a way. Because here's the thing. When you start to point the blame at other folks, you lose power because you can't control other people. That's the part that nobody gets. The only person that you can control is yourself. You can't control nobody else. So if you're pointing the finger at other people, expecting them to change or do things a certain way because your actions are contingent upon their actions, you absolutely have no power whatsoever. And so psychologically, the male does not have any power, and or subconsciously he doesn't have any power at all. And the reason why he doesn't have any power is because he places all of his blame and all of the responsibility on the female for everything that goes on. So his actions are contingent upon the actions of the female. If the female does not acts in a certain way, then he follows. If she doesn't act in a certain way, then he follows. One of those excuses or examples is how a male will say that they will only do what a female allows them to do, which means that they have no ability to say, this is probably not the right thing to do. This is probably not going to yield me the result that I want to see. I'm only going to be able to do what she allowed me to do. So even if she say, I'm going to do this, no matter how savage, no matter how immoral, no matter what level of action this is, it is dependent upon her to either say yes or no, to depend on what the hell I'm going to do. Example, white female in a park. Him, a black dude, white female in a park. Both of their asses fucking out in front of a whole bunch of kids and everything. Okay? So, most of the comments was saying, oh, she nasty. Never ever understanding that the dude is participating in this shit and he is fucking outside just like she is. But the majority of the comments say, we only can do what the female allows. So you mean to tell me that you don't have enough sense and decency yourself to say, I'm not going to do this. But since the female was there, then you are there. Because your actions are contingent upon what the hell she is going to do and but you claim to be the leader, but you constantly following behind some pussy.
Come on. Hey, now that right there, that's a whole nother video in itself. That's a whole nother discussion and dialogue. I'm going to let those points that you just dropped, I'm going to let that resonate in the spirit of the people as it's resonating with me. I don't want a quick response on that. Instead, I want to take this challenge or take this moment to plug the Leaders or Readers Challenge, which I am the founder of. Back when they was pouring ice buckets on themselves, I didn't see any value in it, so I wanted to give the people something alternative, something more constructive, something more deliberate to do, which was to pick up a book, record themselves reading 1 to 3 pages, post it and then challenge their timeline to do the same. Thousands of people have done it since. But I had no idea where you were going with that story, right? But it's funny how what I have already in this book, just an excerpt that I wanted to read, it goes right along with kind of what you was just saying. So I'm going to just read these few points because this is a section under self-imposed limitations. The first self-imposed limitation is procrastination. We ain't talk about that right now. But the second one was blame. And so I had this book ready because I figured somehow we was going to talk about blame. And so I wanted to bring this. So blame is another self-imposed limitation. At one time or another, all of us has blamed someone for something. We have had long training in this self-imposed limitation, going back to a certain fruit garden where the man said, it was the woman. She got me into this. And the woman blamed the serpent. Why do we point fingers instead of looking within? The ego strives to defend itself. Therefore, when we blame outside forces, we don't have to face our own weaknesses and failings. This must be the reason for my infamous list of reasons, which was, he called his blame list, infamous list of reasons. Reasons for not doing well. Because if you ask the common black man, hey, you're a black man, you live in America, you feel me? You're still alive, you have your limbs, how come you're not doing better? Right? And then that's his infinite list of reasons. He's waiting for you to ask him that. So then he can tell you his list of reasons of why he's not doing well.
Right.
Right? And then you could just let him listen. You let him listen. You could even have him write it down. I do this exercise with my youth, my high school students and college students and adults who are willing to put ego aside and examine actual principles. But when you get someone, ask them, well, how come they're not doing better, or what's the reason that they're not where they're at? You have them write down their list, and they're gonna be extremely passionate about explaining this list. The government, history, racism, their height, their age, their body type. You know what I mean? The weather, right. All of these different types of things, right? And you get to the long list. And then you sit there and you look at them. You're like, are you done? Are you sure you're done with this list? Because I see one problem. You're not on it. You didn't put yourself on your list of reasons for not doing well.
Yep.
This is the number one problem.
It's so funny that you say that, because I remember I went to get a gym membership at the Fitness Connection down the street from my house, right? And so they did an assessment, and they were gonna try to do, ask you all these questions, and they asked me questions like, when was the last time you worked out? What was the longest time you worked out? Why do you think you haven't worked out? And so all these questions, I guess she was looking for me to point the blame. And right. I told her, I said, my sandals? When you ask me, can you wear my sandals instead of trying to usurp power and control over my sandals, then I'd let you wear them. Can you ask me, Princella, wear your sandals? Can I wear your sandals? Say, Princella, can I wear your sandals, please? Don't be trying to pimp me. Just you trying to take my damn shoes. They're my shoes.
Order must
please.
Be established. You see, just pointing out and just using this time to recognize black woman who only allows herself to be talked to in a certain way, in a certain manner. And anytime she is talked to outside of the manner in which she deems the way that she feels she must be addressed, and she will check that. You will not get any type of guarantee if Grove or whoever she was just talking to did not adjust their posture and tone of voice according to which she would be most receptive to, they would not have received the result and the luxury of her getting up from that seat, getting them sandals, you see. So the power, so we just see a real life example of how power is on both sides. But were you finished your story? Were you finished?
Oh yeah, no, not yet, because I told them, I say, well, hell, I was just inconsistent and kind of too lazy to get up here and do it. And she say, oh, right. Wow, at least you honest. Yeah, because I mean, what is the excuse for me not? Because if I really wanted to, I would make a way to come up here and exercise. I know this. My ass is just inconsistent and the willpower ain't there. That's what the fuck the real problem is.
Yeah. And so when you address the real problem, then we could get to some real solutions. You see, yeah. We can't get to a real solution if we ain't addressing the real causes and the real, but yeah. So just this last little part about blame. He said, one of my favorite things on the list was the high cost of everything. One day, I said some insane statement about the cost of an item. Mr. Schoaf, which was his mentor, cut me short. He said, listen, Jim, the cost is not your problem. It's not that it costs too much. The problem is you can't afford it. And he was right. See, that's a different philosophy. And he says, it's never the fault of it. Right? It being the thing outside self. It's never the fault of it. If you keep shifting responsibility to it, you will always be broke and disillusioned. You'll never earn enough. But when you start thinking in terms of me as a problem instead of it, you'll experience a surge of personal growth and income. Isn't that what we want from our black men and our women, right?
Absolutely.
A surge of personal growth.
Absolutely.
That's directly. Go ahead.
This is a book that I usually like to recommend to people.
What is it?
Peter Kine, The Go-Getter.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The Go-Getter by Peter Kine. This is a very good read. It's short. It's not that long. Let's see how many pages it is. It's about 79 pages. Okay.
I mean, it's straight to the point.
It's straight to the point. Okay. This book shows you how one person had to achieve a goal and didn't come up with one excuse why he couldn't. But the people put him through a test. And they made this shit so damn difficult for him to go get this damn blue vase. He had to go get a blue vase. And they put him through all kind of hoops and hurdles to go get this damn blue vase. But in the end, this motherfucker got that blue vase. He did not quit. He did not give up. He did not come up with an excuse. He just did it. And this is the spirit that a lot of black folks lack. Money ain't gonna fix this issue. Let me tell you something. Economics ain't gonna fix this issue. Politics ain't gonna fix this issue. Education ain't gonna fix this issue. This is your spirit and your mind issue with creating excuses or finding crutches.
Yeah, it's excuse-itis.
Yeah, excuse-itis.
Black people suffer from extreme form of excuse-itis. And so the key word to describe what the brother used and the go-getter to achieve his definite aim was persistence.
Yeah.
He persisted and pushed no matter what. And he didn't give up because he knew that a winner never quits and a quitter never wins. People go through tremendous lengths to avoid facing the truth, which is the fact that they are responsible. Right?
Yep.
When we talk about self-imposed limitations, first one was procrastination, the second one was blame, and the third one was excuses. Mm-hmm. We suffer highly from all three of these things.
Yep.
And let's ask the black collective, before you blame the white man, before you blame the system, before you blame chemtrails, before you blame your woman, before you blame your children, before you blame taxes, before you blame your mother, before you blame your father, before you blame your sister or your brother, ask yourself, if I eliminated procrastination, blame, and excuses from my realm of consciousness, is my point still valid?
Exactly.
Like, is my procrastination a cause of this thing that I'm getting ready to complain about? Is me blaming a consistent or habitual blame game the cause for this result? If I stop making excuses and I stop procrastinating and I stop pointing blame, would that in fact change the situation? Would that quality of life be increased? And the answer is undoubtedly yes.
Yes, exactly.
Undoubtedly. But I guess people would rather create millions of excuses than millions of dollars.
Yep. This is the truth. This is the truth. And this is why I focus more on psychology, behavioral psychology, and all of this stuff, because that's the number one issue. It ain't slavery. It ain't history. It's you right here in the here and now, not understanding how life works, not understanding your body, not understanding your mind. Just going in this world on fucking autopilot. That's your number one problem. It ain't none of that other stuff.
Hey, you can change all the things for the better when you change yourself for the better.
But you know, most black folks don't want to hear that. Because...
Let me say it again then real quick. You could change all things for the better when you change yourself for the better.
I'm starting with the man
If you don't like
in the
how
mirror.
it is for you now, change it. If it isn't enough, change it. If it doesn't suit you, change it. If it doesn't please you, change it. Accept the fact that you are remarkable and strive on your uniqueness, family. You cannot change yourself on the outside until you make a commitment to the process of that inward journey.
You know what? But you know what? You know why they can't do it, Leon? They cannot do it because they have been sold by these white folks that told them pursuit of happiness. They believe that this shit's supposed to be easy. Because they have programmed themselves to travel the path of least resistance. So changing is too hard. Taking personal accountability is too hard. Because when you ask them to change something, the first thing they gonna bring up is white supremacy won't let me do it.
Ooh, that's it's funny. Yo, Spirit just got us on the right frequency, because I just dropped that book because I got a whole bunch of books that I'm about to be referencing. But this one is Niggas to Gods, right?
Yeah.
Came out in 93. And this is, look at the chapter that I had up, waiting for the next break.
Yeah.
It's the white man's fault. Like, you see, like, just because, wait, so let me just give you these two paragraphs for there, just to reiterate your point, and then I'm going to let you continue. It says, Black man, you are your greatest ally, but you are also your greatest enemy. Your laziness, jealousy, ego, procrastination, passivity, fear, insecurity.
Stop right there. I need you to stop right there. I need you to read each one of them words individually. Pause after each one. So let's address the first one you said was laziness, right?
Laziness, yep.
Laziness.
That's what it says.
So the Negro don't believe that the Negro is lazy. But Leon, how many black folks you know own businesses that complain about Negroes not wanting to do no job? How many Negroes you know that if you gave them a job, they ass wouldn't want to work for it? They wouldn't want to do nothing. How many of them you know? I can name several. I can name several people. I had one dude walk up to me and say, you know, I'm sick. I run a trucking company. And I just cannot find no reliable black people. And it's a shame that Negro males don't want to do nothing. I think I'm going to start looking for females to work for me because these Negroes don't want to do shit. These are coming from people who run businesses, trying to get these Negroes an opportunity. They do not want to work.
Let me speak to that then. If it's like that, then I'm going to keep it funky. While I was working corporate, right, I told you about the management training program. I ended up getting my office. Now I got office. Now I'm doing interviews on a daily. You feel me? In charge of hiring and firing. I'm doing payroll and all of these things, offering endless opportunity to people who look like myself. Offering endless opportunity to young brothers and sisters in multiple different states, multiple different regions, multiple different positions that I had for multiple different companies. And your point is proven. It just has to, that just is what it is but there's many different factors. So are we going to talk about why? Are we going to talk about the shiftlessness of like the shiftlessness that breeds laziness? Are we going to talk about because laziness is effect. The things that he's describing are all effect.
Right. But what I'm showing is examples of all of these things he's saying, because we're talking about personal accountability, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So
because I was going to bring the cause back to a self-imposed thing, but go ahead.
Right, because so we want to talk about each and every last one of these to show the example, because you'll get a bunch of people, we ain't lazy, we work for 400 years. Nah, bitch, you didn't work for 400 years. The people who did work for 400 years, they've been dead and gone. Your ass been riding off the work that our ancestors done put in while you sitting up here going to the club and fucking turning up every day. Your lazy ass ain't did shit. So I don't want to hear nothing about our ancestors worked for 400 years.
And then, within we could also bring some accountability within parental accountability.
Mm-hmm.
Just me as a fact, like, because a lot of that, because we got to understand what our ancestors during that 400 years, we got to understand what castration actually is, the purpose of castrating. Like, if you castrate a bull, all of his aggressiveness goes. Like, you know, he basically turns into a heifer, basically, right? And so they used to, when you castrate a man, it takes out his will, it takes out his desire, it takes out his ingenuity, it takes out his warrior spirit, right? As well as, especially if you castrate him and then you feed him on a daily. So then you feed him at the same time you feed him at the same time every day, right? So then he becomes psychologically dependent.
But I got you. But what I'm talking about are the words in the book. You said if we're talking about personal accountability. So we're not going into the whys. We're going into what these issues are so the Negro can see himself. Okay.
All right. So we just gonna.
We just talking
about.
We're being a mirror because you're reading a book about personal accountability. So
cool.
It's our issue.
It is.
Right. So example, like, I don't have no excuses for not working out. The only excuse or the only reason is because I'm a lazy piece of shit that ain't went to the fucking gym and I ain't found no willpower to be consistent. That's the only damn reason that ass ain't in the gym. I can come up with as many excuses to say why my ass is not working out. The reality is, it's just my lack of consistency and willpower to get the fuck in the gym. So
that is 100% true.
Okay, so all that other stuff we ain't talking about.
We ain't talking about it.
I'm talking about what you reading out of that book right now. So read the sentence again, and then each one of these we're going to show the examples of the Negro so he can see himself, see himself, see herself.
I like that. I'm with it. Let's go. Black man, you are your greatest ally, and you are also your greatest enemy. Your laziness. Niggas don't want to work. You got black folks that can create a business. Hey, niggas don't want to work though, cause even minimal amount of work for maximum effort, they still don't want it. Anyway, jealousy.
Jealousy
was the second one.
Your ass trying to do something, who the first person to pull you down? Family members, your friends, haters. So they're mad at other people for actually doing shit that they won't do. Hence why they mad at the goddamn Mexicans. Why the fuck you mad at the Mexicans? The Mexicans are doing jobs that your ass don't want to do. So what you being jealous of them for?
The next one is ego.
Ego. Constantly trying to protect that shit by not being accountable for their own goddamn actions. Hence why they can never change the laziness. They can never change the jealousy because it affects their damn ego to even change.
Oh yeah, I'm back. I had a little joint popped up, but it's cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, nah, you're right. So it was laziness, jealousy, ego, procrastination.
Motherfuckers do shit when they want to do it, and it might not ever get done. This is why black folks always complaining about black businesses. Because black folks who do run black business, a lot of them don't get your shit on time. You have issues, customer service issues, okay? They say they gonna send something out to you, and you gotta damn near fight them to get it. Might get there late. A lot of black people have issues with black businesses. This is a fact. This ain't some shit that white folks are perpetuating. This is reality that a lot of us have run into when dealing with black businesses.
Okay. Yeah. And before I read the next one, we still dealing with procrastination. I ended up picking up that book because that was the first self-imposed limitation. Mm-hmm. So procrastination, and the thing about procrastination, this is why I want to pick this up, because I want people to understand the danger of procrastinating. Procrastination is especially dangerous because of its accumulating nature. When we put off doing some minor task, it doesn't seem to be all that important. But if we let a few things slide during the day, it doesn't seem like much or such a bad day. But when enough of those days pile up, you have the makings for the disastrous year, right? Or disastrous life decade, or however we want to put it. And so when I study successful people and unsuccessful people, I never met any person of any type of significant personal accountability and responsibility that did not have to overcome procrastination.
Right. I want to, before you go into the next one, I want to address some. You got Christopher. He said, y'all don't understand biological warfare. His ultimate objective is always to find a reason why the nigga can't do. Well, it's biological warfare. Well, if your ass ain't got Down syndrome, or if your ass is not comatose, if your ass ain't got something that prevents you from fucking moving, talking, walking, then you ain't got no goddamn excuse why you can't do. Because you have children and people who born without limbs, who born with all kind of different issues that don't come up with the same excuses that you niggas come up with all the time.
Like, I can't do the comments seriously. Is someone you talking about someone just commenting on this post, this video?
Yeah.
You're talking about bio warfare.
Yeah.
Are they not listening to you?
No, they never do. A lot of this person never does. I ain't gonna say they, because a lot of my followers do, but this particular person don't.
Listen, King, listen, comrade. We are not ignorant, okay? In order for us to take the type of posture that we take, and address such critical issues, is because we are well aware of what happened, how it happened, why it happened, when it happened, and what's gonna happen after that. and we have prepared ourselves for to guide and assist the entire generation into a global renaissance. And we are here to establish a results-driven, achievement-driven culture, which does not recognize deflections, which does not recognize good reasons, which does not recognize excuses. We only recognize results.
Exactly.
And the bottom line result of it all is the black mass collective man is, as Akil says, and this is 1993. You see, this is 24 years ago. Basically 24 years ago when this book came out. And he says here, your laziness, jealousy, ego, procrastination, and the next one is passivity.
Passivity. You tell a Negro what's wrong, like somebody did earlier, and this dude will tell you it's a non-issue. Why we even focused on it? The shit that you have the ability to change, you just overlook it and pass up all the opportunities for you to fix it. You too passive about shit that actually matters.
Right. And then they get real aggressive about things that, or even we get real aggressive about things that really have no substantial value at all and have nothing to do with our black self-determination. But everything that does have to do with our black self-determination, what do?
We pass it off to other folks.
Okay. Okay. Black man, you are your greatest ally, but also you are your greatest enemy. Your laziness, jealousy, ego, procrastination, passivity, fear. Fear.
Scared to go beyond his current situation. Scared to step into new uncharted territory to actually see something beyond where he at. They scared to stand up for themselves. They scared to stand up for what's right. I know because I was in a situation where I was at this job. Folks was fucking over all of us and just doing us wrong. I stand up. These fools talking about, okay, we gonna stand up, Prince. All these black dudes, when it came down, all they asses chickened out. Oh, I'm scared I might lose my job. Now, when I talked about this before, you had people on my post come in and say, I can understand, because he might be scared to lose his job. And he might not get another job. We don't know. But you same people, and then literally, it was the same people talking about if they was in slavery, they would have fucked some white folks up. Bitch, if you scared to lose your job, you wasn't going to do a goddamn thing to them white folks. You would have let them sit there and beat your ass. Because you scared to lose a fucking job.
Come on. And the reason you're scared to lose a job is because you don't have no definite major purpose. So then you can't develop the self-discipline required, the applied faith required, the personal initiative required. You can't go the extra mile. You can't even go the first mile because you don't got no definite aim to go to in the first place. So you can't even summon enough energy. You can't even use mineral power. You can't even summon ancestral energy. You can't even use the energy of your woman to help you get to the direction that you want to head. You can't even use sex transmutation. You can't use any of these things to get you to the destination that you don't even have. So you scared to lose your job because this motherfucker takes care of you. For real? And I refuse. This is why I left a $65,000-$70,000 a year gig when I was 23 to start from scratch. Because regardless of all this stuff that I was getting, it was still being cut by some pilgrim who didn't have my best interests. And I'm not about to fall in line. I'm not just one of those fall in line type of guys, especially when I understand my divinity and my power to determine my own reality. So fear, we talking about fear. Fear is only a feeling. It cannot hold us back. If people are still taking notes, go ahead and write fear as an acronym. Fear, false evidence appearing real. Okay? Fear, false evidence appearing real. All right? Fear is only a feeling. It can't hold you back. If it's holding you back, then it's because you know who you are, why you are, how you are. And these are the things that you need to investigate further before you even ever try and goddamn deflect some responsibility onto the black woman.
Exactly.
The next thing is insecurity.
Insecurity. Hence why we got a lot of people who want to be pimps, who want to subjugate the female, because all of that has to do with insecurity. Because since they feel a sense of entitlement to that position of a leader, they need somebody who doesn't threaten their intelligence. They need somebody that's less than them so that they can feel better about themselves. And in that feeling better about themselves by using other people as the supporters by oppressing them mentally is solely due to their own insecurity. And because of your insecurity, you can't uplift nobody else. Thus, you supporting each other, which is where the jealousy, the fear, the envy, the laziness, and all of this comes as a result of fucking insecurity.
Right, right. And the only reason that you're insecure is because you don't have a definite major purpose. And since you don't have a definite major purpose, any road will take you there. And you think you worried about other people's pace, cars moving faster than you and all these other different things. You worried about the wrong stuff. How are you going to be insecure about someone else outside yourself who's just a reflection of you, just here to serve as something for you to learn from, learn about yourself based on that interaction with? How like, see, insecurity, that's a big thing. Like, insecurity only come from you not knowing, like, you not understanding your value. If you understand your value, then you not threatened by the presence of any other thing. You feel me? Because you know that you got the power, basically. And you can't be insecure and know you have the power at the same time.
And I want to address what old boy said earlier. He said the black man still don't know himself. That's not our issue, because it's enough information out there that they have access to that they refuse to gain. Like I said, Farrakhan had been walking around here talking that crap for he been talking forever. You had Dr. Ben, you got John Henry Clark, Khalid Muhammad, you got all these people that exist and got information, all these books, all these videos. Ain't no excuses now that you got internet where you see these people are so lost that once a person starts talking this consciousness stuff, their first instinct is to block you. That ain't our fault. That's their damn fault. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it.
Right. Which is why we understand, and we keep going back to the point, because this episode is called, our series, we're talking about addressing responsibility, right? Mm-hmm. And the responsibility is personal, right? It's a personal choice. Whether you choose to take accountability for the space that you occupy, become your greatest version so you could be the greatest asset to the collective, or not. It's really only one choice, right? You either choose to make, like how back to ourselves, you either choose to get your sales goals or you choose to make excuses. You cannot do both.
Exactly.
And so, yeah.
What were you selling, by the way?
Oh, wow. So I was in this marketing training program. So we had a whole bunch of different clients. So, but even before that, I used to sell a whole bunch of, drugs, candy, goddamn, all this other different types of things. Used to sell myself as a barber. I used to sell, when I was in college, I used to sell hot cakes. I used to I was Mr. Munchies, so I had the the hot dogs, burgers. I had a George Foreman in my dorm and shit. Bags of chips, hugs. You feel me? I was hustling. You feel me? Heavy. I was selling a lot of stuff, and then those skills got fine tuned after college. I started working. The first client we had, or I was working with, was AT&T on the Uverse campaign. Mm-hmm. So we was leading. It was when Uverse had first started, and we was introducing it to people. People didn't even know that AT&T had cable. And so if we were gonna run sales markets on AT&T Uverse, we had to start doing the entry level sales because we can't run an office
direct
sales.
I did the same thing, direct marketing.
Okay.
Yeah,
straight direct. So business to business, res, retail, and then I just got really, really effective on the actual system, and then teach, training, and developing the people on the system, and my value became increased.
And what was the key? And what was the key to all of this? The key to all of this, door-to-door sales, business to business, and all of that was simply psychology and building impulse. Because you're talking about going to people that don't even fucking know you coming and selling them some shit.
Right. I led the nation too. I was extremely effective following those systems. And like you said, understanding the psychology. Because in college, I studied sociology and psychology and a little bit of philosophy. These is my main interest: group interaction, how the brain works, and then why people think and act the way that they do. And so, yeah, understanding that, which is the system is built on psychological principles, and that and law of averages, right?
Exactly.
Like law of averages is the main thing, which is why our videos are so effective, because the more videos that we make, the more conversations that we have, the more people that hear our message, then it increases the chance and the likelihood of someone to actually take charge of their life. And so it doesn't even matter if only one man
changes
this whole video, this whole dialogue today, even our whole 7 series episodes. If that only moves one man or one woman, or maybe even if it's a 14 or 15-year-old watching right now, if it just moves them to that personal responsibility and to never deflect,
we done something. We did something. And that's the part that the majority of these people don't comprehend. Because, see, me and you did sales. I did the same shit you did, okay? I did that shit in 2012 when I have shit. And I bought a car off of doing that. I was number one with direct energy. So I know exactly.
Okay, so you was a Sigcord?
No, I was with Kluger Marketing Group, but yeah.
Yo, hey, direct energy. That's gas. That's the gas.
Yeah.
And electric.
I did the electric. I'm the one that created the sales pitch for that shit. The first day out there, I flipped the whole block over from what they had out here to that. So so I understand the psychology, and I understand how it works. And what the majority of people don't comprehend, they think they doing me a disservice by either unfriending, blocking, or whatever. But you don't comprehend that we go by something. Some will, some won't. So what?
Someone will.
Yeah. Right? And guess what?
Some will, some won't. So what?
We look at QT. Quality time
with quality people.
Yep, with quality people.
Qualified, not yet. Quality time with qualified people.
Right, because if your ass don't qualify, and your ass if you ain't qualified, I'm not gonna spend no quality time with you anyway. If the message don't get to you, so what? I wasn't talking to your ass. You the last person I'm gonna have to worry about dealing with people who do want to change.
That's why it's important to understand the Bell marketing curve. See, when we start going into psychology, we could run a whole sales goddamn seminar, training, teaching people how to expand their business,
right?
And how to posture themselves, which we could talk about that at another time. I don't want to get too much into sales right now. We're just selling people on themselves, selling people on their own personal value, selling people on the possibility that they can take charge of their life and ultimately determine their own destiny. Like, if they so choose to give up those self-limited beliefs and those self-imposed limitations. So, black man, you are your greatest ally, but you are also your greatest enemy. Your laziness, jealousy, ego, procrastination, passivity, fear, insecurity, ignorance.
Ignorance. A lot of people don't understand that the word ignorant is not a bad thing. Ignorant just mean that you don't know. All right? And the reality is people choose not to know. So this level of ignorance is a decision that they made. And the reason that people choose to be ignorant is because they believe it releases them of taking accountability and responsibility. Because it's just better not to know. Because once you can say, I didn't know, you now can point the finger. But once you know, baby, you held at total responsibility.
That's what they say. If you knew better, you do better, right? Or once you know. But also that makes me draw a biblical reference. A biblical reference that describes a group of people that might or might not be the people that describe us in their fairy tale narrative. But Hosea 4:6 says, your people were destroyed due to lack of knowledge. And then everyone hear that and they always stop there. They always stop there as if that's the end of the verse.
Right.
But that's a semicolon there. It says, your people were destroyed because of lack of knowledge, because you rejected knowledge.
Rejected it. And they chose to be ignorant. All right?
Right.
But then in this ignorance, they speak as if they know something, which then makes them stupid. There is a fine line between ignorance and stupidity. Okay? It's cool not to know.
Right. And but even then, we're really at the point too where it's like, but ignorance also don't get you a pass, because if we're gonna create those driven, if we are achievement driven culture, think about this, like, for example, because we build in a nation, we build in a self-sustaining, black developed systems, institutions, processes for the betterment and upliftment of our culture. So we building that even though we ain't never done it before. We have the faith, the ingenuity, we doing it. Another biblical reference. When Noah started building the ark, we talk about Noah's ark, even though we know none of this shit is real. We're just using the allegory and the symbolism.
Right.
The end of the world was coming. You feel me? Noah had he got divine inspiration. Whatever it was, he told him that, hey, this is my purpose. I need to be building this shit. It had never rained before. So he really sounded crazy. You feel me? The literature said it had never even rained before. You feel me? So he talking about the first, it's water about to come out of the sky. Don't nobody know what he talking about. And they said he was building this ark for over 100 years, right? When the rain came, the people that was on it made it to the next land. Everyone else perished, right? And so the person, just a person who says, oh, I didn't know that Noah was building an ark. Where did they end up?
They ended up in that water.
Exactly. Jeez. And so in 2017 and beyond, and to survive in the 21st century, you must have the information. It is not okay to miss the information because it's out there. And if you choose, like she said, to neglect the responsibility of you having to understand and interpret the information, then when you're in complete destitute, and when you continue to experience ill health, fear, worry, frustration, discouragement, laziness, envy, jealousy, superstition. When you experience poverty, in scarcity mindset, then know that you are the cause of these results, the results that manifest from that. So sometimes that might manifest in cancer, that might manifest in a tumor, that might manifest in all these other little different things. So every single thing that we're going to be talking about in our discussions is always going to come back to personal accountability and personal responsibility.
Right.
And right now, we're talking about the black man. We talk about black man, you are your greatest ally, but you are also your greatest enemy. Your laziness, jealousy, ego, procrastination, passivity, fear, insecurity, ignorance, foolishness.
Foolishness.
Oh, and foolishness.
Foolishness. The Negro is more attracted to foolishness than he is anything that's productive, anything that can do him better. You know why? Because he's addicted to foolishness. Because human beings are habitual creatures.
Yeah.
Human beings, all right. Human beings are habitual. So once they get into a habit of doing something that's pleasure, because they're pleasure seeking, because America told you pursue the happiness. And so now you're doing any and everything that makes you happy versus doing something that will sustain your life and further your existence on this planet. Foolishness. Getting drunk. Not doing shit. Smoking weed all day. Not doing shit. Okay? Going to the club. Not reading. Not doing it. Sagging your pants. Fucking around. Making jokes all day. All day long. Some people got so much time on their hands that they literally sit up here and make motherfucking memes and videos just to make people laugh. They ain't get paid off of this stuff. There's no purpose behind it. They just wasting time. No brain power being put to use for anything productive, because they've become addicted to nonsense. They've become addicted to foolishness. And when you tell them about the foolishness, they shun you. Don't judge me. Life is about being happy. You only live once. These philosophies that you go by are your problem.
And also, I just jumped in at the end because I wasn't here with what you said. But, and see, those philosophies can also, because when we understand in polarity, I'm about to sage the mess out of myself in my room real quick. I wanted to do this before we started. But anyway, like when you say, yeah, okay, if you want to use that as your leverage, young king, you only live once, yeah. So you only live once, right? So you only live once. If you want to take reincarnation, you want to take everything out of it and talk about the meat suit or the vessel that we actually live in. You only live once, right? Okay. So that's even more reason, right? Because it's like this. When you die, and everyone that knows you dies, if you haven't done something significant and made a difference, it's like you were never born.
Mm-hmm.
Are you okay with that? Because it seems like your actions right now are focused on your popularity.
It don't matter, because America told them pursue the happiness. And so since they believe that that's why they on this planet, is to be happy, what other actions could you expect out of them when they believe that they here to do nothing but have fun?
Well, see, then this is where this is where our definitions come into play. Well, you are 100% on point. You are 100% correct. And it's where our definitions come into play.
Mm-hmm.
Because shit, it's fun as fuck to me, like to take it on my chin, to take full responsibility, like feel that urge and suppress my ego, like nah, ego, like nah, Nah, nigga. I'm the problem. You feel me? And the solution. I got the power. You feel me? Yeah. I might have had a little blurt or a little glitch in my belief, or I might have a little spazzed out here and there, but I'm always gonna take responsibility for even spazzing. You feel me?
Right.
I'm always gonna take responsibility for everything, and that's fun. That's fun. The growth, knowing who I was, and then
Right.
who I'm becoming, seeing that manifest. That's fun. That makes me happy. You feel me?
And
That
guess
is
what that proves? Guess what that proves? Like I've been telling, all that proves is that this stuff, there are a chosen set of people that this resonates in. See, a book ain't gonna give you that. Your spirit have to already be set up for this shit. So giving a savage a book and thinking he gonna change and become that is total nonsense. See, Malcolm X wasn't created. Malcolm X had already existed. That spirit was already in him. A book didn't give it. It just triggered or awakened what was already in him.
That's a great word. Trigger.
Yeah, that was it. But if you can't trigger this into these people, it ain't even there. We're dealing with something that's totally, because these issues that we talking about, these are spiritual issues. You understand? Because
right.
What people don't comprehend is that your mind, your subconscious mind, is connected to your spirit. It's intertwined. What?
And your emotions and your intellect. While she's talking, right? We live in four worlds at once. If you're taking notes, I'm gonna give y'all the formula. All right? M plus E plus S. M plus E plus S equals P. We live in four worlds at once. I just wanted to give y'all this. We live in four worlds at once. This is the formula. M plus E plus S equals P. Right? M is your mental world. Right? E, the emotional world. S, the spiritual world. E or M plus E plus S equals P, which is the physical world. The physical world that we live in is only a manifestation, or the total sum of our mental, emotional, and spiritual. And if your mentality, your emotions, and spirit are in disconnect or disharmony, if they're not all agreed upon a definite major purpose, then this is why you see this disharmony. This is why you see this conflict. This is why you see all the wide variety of results that you're experiencing. And you're going to continue to receive those results until you get a clear what and a clear why behind your mental, emotional, and spiritual. Then you could deliberately manifest in the physical the type of results that you want. But you were about to talk about people don't realize your soul or spirit is connected to your subconscious. That's
correct. Because all of these issues that we talking about are spiritual issues. Mm-hmm. See, you can't you cannot produce drive and determination. That has to exist in a person's being already. It's certain stuff that you born with. It's certain stuff that you can learn, but it's certain stuff that you are born with. And this, a lot of people come here preset on a path of how high they are going to get in this shit.
Perfect example. Not every tree grows to 100 feet. Not every tree bears fruit. And even all the ones that do bear fruit, some are poisonous. Not every tree is going to have the same colored leaves, right? So like you said, just as those trees, we're not all meant to grow to the same heights, but the thing about trees and the thing about nature is that the tree is going to develop itself to the max. It's going to produce itself to its highest capacity. Mm-hmm. Right? So when you see whatever the size of that tree it is, you know for a fact that it grew all it can. It produced all the leaves that it could, all the branches that it could, all of the fruit possible. Right? Whereas as man and woman, or woman, male, female, masculine, divine, divine, masculine, divine, feminine, we have the dignity of choice. And so a tree can't choose how high it can go and how high it can grow. However, we can. But to the point that you're making, only the people who already has that knowingness within them, spirit is even going to resonate with these truths.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So it all goes back down to a person, because a lot of people like to use this word conscious and make it seem that conscious is connected to not being in an organized religion.
Right.
And conscious has become hotep. Okay? This is what they have said. But consciousness is about being aware of self. If you are not aware of self, your weaknesses and your strengths and your limitations, there's no way that you can even go in a direction for elevating self.
And that's the truth. And then people be like, oh, I don't know how to find my strengths. I don't know what that is. There's resources for everything, family. That's another excuse. Stop deflecting. This is a book, this 2.0, this is called Strengths Finder. Strengths Finder. So any possible strength that you can have will be in here. Strengths that you didn't even know. You'd be like, oh, damn, I didn't even know that was a strength. Hundreds of strengths. Find yours.
But you know what? The one thing is, people cannot sit in their own thoughts. They can't. A lot of people have TV going, radio going, anything going to break up their thoughts because they're afraid to face themselves. Well, if you can't even sit in a room with your own thoughts, how the hell you gonna fix anything? How are you gonna figure out your strengths and weaknesses if you keep running from yourself? The majority of people run from themselves.
Right. Nah, that is the absolute truth and the absolute fact. This is why Monday through Friday at noon I do a self-mastery, self-motivation series for my King Leon X page called Take Charge of Your Life. We address these things and we give concepts and strategies and principles that I would think. Oh wait, hold on. I talk about things that I've done and things that I implemented in my own life to now be living the resurrection. So, black man, you are your greatest ally, but you are also your greatest enemy. Your laziness, jealousy, ego, procrastination, passivity, fear, insecurity, and foolishness are the stumbling blocks that constantly trip you and prevent you from standing up like the black men and black women that you are. You are holding yourself back because you are allowing someone else to do so. Do you understand what is being said?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me. Oh, I was just reading.
Okay.
But that's how you write and you make it like conversation.
Yeah.
Tell me something. If a bully in grade school kicks your butt every day and took your lunch money away, whose fault is it if you are starving at lunchtime? Is it the bully's fault? Is it your fault? Who is really at fault? Well, it is definitely not the fault of the bully because he's just being a bully. He's just being his dumb self. It's your fault for being a straight up punk and letting this dumb bully take your lunch money. So you deserve to starve at lunchtime. Do you see what I'm saying? So since the devils were allowed to rule over the earth and create this pure hell, who's at fault? Blame the black God. It's his fault. Yes, black man, it is your fault. But why did God allow it? Why did you allow this, black man? There is a reason for everything. Think on that.
And on that note, we are gonna stop right there for the night.
All right, and then so when we the next time when we gonna pick up, because we still only got through the 3 levels of leadership, right? We still got 2 more levels of leadership, family. Were we talking about a 4th level, which is personal development? People follow you because what you have done for them, and then the pinnacle, which is people follow you because who you are and what you represent. So we're gonna come right back next week sometime. We'll let y'all know when we'll be further having a discussion on accountability, responsibility, and the destruction of the Black family. Thank you so much for letting me have a dialogue with your viewers and being able to capture this monumental occasion. I definitely enjoyed
it's all
the thoroughness. I didn't even get. I'm still on my first page of notes. I didn't even get past. You feel me? A half a page of notes. Or what I had prepared to speak about. So yes, I look forward to connecting with you again. And if people want to reach out to me, you could go to my website, KingLeonX.com. You can like my Facebook page, please, and write a review, King Leon X. You can also purchase my debut Black Power album called Freedom of Speech. You can get it on iTunes, Spotify, Tidal, Google Play, anywhere music is sold online. You can stream it for free on my website, or you could buy a hard copy, which I'll mail to you at my website or on Amazon. I'm also an author. You could get my book, Freedom of Speech, Donna Liberation Rap, on Amazon or also at my website, KingLeonX.com. And I did a lot of reading on this video to plug my Read Out Loud challenge, the Leaders or Readers challenge. You pick up a book, record yourself reading 1 to 3 pages, and challenge your timeline to do the same. And so with that being said, that's all I have, love, right now. You got any last words?
I appreciate you stopping by and speaking to everybody, showing your face. I really, really do appreciate it. It's always good to be able to link up with people of like mind so we can actually get somewhere. Even if we take, it don't matter if it's 2 or 3 steps. As long as they in the forward direction, that's really all that matters.
Hey, I know that's right. Hey, and I guess you were right. It was a joke to say we were gonna do this thing for an hour. So we're gonna carve out more time for sure next week. But y'all stay grateful, and remember, the only limitations you have is the ones you set up in your own mind or allow others to set up for you. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. The definition of insanity is doing the same exact thing, expecting different results. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail lies in the difference of their habits. Good habits are the key to all success. Bad habits are the unlocked door to failure. Failure is a few errors in judgment repeated daily. Success is the implementation of a few simple disciplines repeated daily. You choose. You got the power, Black family. We have the power. The power is ours. If you are making excuses or making blames or using any type of deflection, please stay from bias.
With that being said, Mr. Leon and Facebook family, y'all have a beautiful night, and I'm going to catch y'all on the flip side. You hear me?
The power is ours.
That's it.